let me give you what the information about what the project is and what the product is. So when we talk about the project, always remember that the project is having a temporary life cycle. It's very temporary. It is having a start date and it is having an end date, and the scope is defined. Okay, so this is my project. This will get started at this particular date and this will end at this particular date. All right, and after that there will be always support that would be there going on for the project. But as far as the product is concerned, there's no stop date. There's no end date for the product. Let me give you the example. We all know we all know the projects, right? Like WhatsApp. I'm just giving a example, okay? And there's a Windows OS, which you can see here, right? Windows operating system. We call Windows operating system as a product of a Microsoft. It has been started at certain date, but there's no end date for it. There would be the enhancements that keep on going. We keep on getting the new service packs. We update our operating system and so on and so forth. So that is called as a product, which doesn't have any end date, but it will have the enhancements in order to make sure that it is compatible with the market. All right. So if you want to stay in the market, you have to be compatible with the market. And that's the reason is you have to enhance your product. That is all about the product. But project is having a certain deadlines. Deadlines in the say the end dates. What happen is if you are a service-based company, all right, so you would be taking several projects, and your client, let's say your client is Amazon, all right, they want to take a service of the inventory from you. So they called up and they said, okay, if you have the can you please create an inventory module for me where I can keep track of all the goods which I would be, having in all the goods which would be there in the system. So you would be creating a software where you would be keeping track of their inventory. All right. So there would be a start date, there would be end date. As soon as you come up with the project, as soon as you come up with a solution, you would be providing and you would be handing over it to the Amazon. And after that, you would be providing the support calls for it. I mean, completely depends on what kind of, what kind of contract you are having with Amazon. So based on that, you would be providing the support till certain amount of time. And then after, maybe Amazon can say, okay, after this, I would be taking your support calls. I will be taking my own support calls. So it is having the end date defined to it. But product doesn't have an end date. It keeps on going. Some of the product-based companies are Oracle, Microsoft, and I mean, there are plenty of it, which provides the product to the clients. All right. The other difference is when we take any enhancements in the product, there's lots and lots of brainstorming things that get involved. Because when we provide any enhancement to the product, we need to know, we need to consider so many factors like what's latest in the market, how we can implement this. And if we are implementing that in our product, then it should not hamper my existing product, right? Because we have the existing clients as well. So we have to support them. Plus, we have to make sure that we are enhancing our product. All right. So these are all the things which comes under the product. But the project, as I said, as and when required, if new enhancement user wants or the client wants, we would be raising a change request for it. We would be asking, okay, this would be the amount you have to pay for this change. And then we would be providing that solution to the client. All right. So going forward, I would be giving, when we would be working on the assignments, what I will be doing is what all the artifacts which we would be delivering in the upcoming sessions, those assignments I would be separating project-wise plus product-wise, because there are lots of difference in the deliverables when you are producing it for the project and when you are producing it for the product. All right. So we will be discussing both the things so that at the end of the day, when you are going to the market saying, okay, you are joining some company as a business analyst, you should be able to know that if you are going to the product-based company, then what all the things you have to do, and if you are going to the service-based company, what all the things you have to do. All right. Okay, so if you can see the same thing is there in the slides. It's temporary, it have the end date, it have the beginning date. All right, and each and every project would be unique in its own functionality, and that would be completely customizable as per the client requirements. But product doesn't customize itself as per the client requirement. Product always customize itself as per the market needs. All right, so you can see we have several phases out here. The project will always have an initiation phase, and then we will be having a planning and design, executing and monitoring, and why this is there on the circle I will be explaining you, and then it will be having a phase. All right, I can see. Hi, Hiral. Welcome. All right. So, okay, when we say initiation phase, what is initiation phase? Do anybody have any idea what this initiation phase is? What happened there? Why we initiate the project? Why there is an
initiation phase is when you initially want to start a project, so you would start talking about it, trying to get an idea of what we're doing, why we're doing it, to acknowledge what needs to be done.
Awesome. And what else we discussed it? Activities. That's awesome. You pretty much captured 80% of it.
To define the scope of why we're here and what we would be doing.
Perfect.
And to gather information from maybe management or subject matter experts.
Awesome. That's perfect. Now, whatever Amisha had to, that was Amisha, right?
Yes.
All right. So what Amisha had told, I would be briefing it. Okay. So she was perfectly right when she said it defines the scope that need to be done. All right. But we have several activities apart from, along with the whatever the Amisha said, along with that we have several activities that we need to take care when we are initiating the project. All right. So when we initiate the project, okay, let me give you the complete life cycle of any project from the beginning, from the very top. Okay. So let's say I'm a client. All right. I'm facing any problem in my system. What I did is, I will not just go ahead and say management, okay, I'm facing this problem, please arrange something for me. No, that's never gonna work. Because if you are saying that you want something, you should be having a proof that why you are facing this problem, and is really this change is required. And if this change is required, what if I'm not providing you the new solution? Rather, if we can arrange a roundabout solution for it. See, management will never gonna help you saying, okay, this person or this department is facing problem, and I want to go ahead and initiate a project for it. So what we have to do as a business analyst, it's not just a business analyst. Let me tell you, there's one thing called as a business case. We have one business analyst called as an enterprise business analyst, which is also a part of a steering committee, that's very high level. So when we would be discussing what the career path of the business analyst is, I would be taking this example, this business case. I will be explaining you what is enterprise business analyst. That is the main goal where business analysts reach. Okay, so I'm talking about that business analyst. So what that business analyst, enterprise business analysts do is, they will develop a business case. In that business case, again, this business case, what is business case and what all the things would be there in the business case, how this business case looks like, how we would be calculating the stuffs, and everything we would be discussing that in upcoming sessions. Okay, complete artifacts I would be providing it to you. So that in case if you get the opportunity to become an enterprise business analyst, you can write and create a business case just like that without any difficulty. So I was talking about the initiation. When any project get initiated, we have to first create the business case of it. In the business case, you would be stating what the problem you are having, how and why there's no roundabout solution for it. And in case if we are achieving something by providing a solution to it, then how your business is gonna get benefited, how much money or how much revenue the complete system or the complete organization will achieve if we are coming up with a solution of this particular problem. Those kind of things is something that has been defined in the business case. And let me tell you one thing, whatever the projects you guys have worked so far have their business case defined. There's no project on this earth which doesn't have a business case or a business need documentation present for it. Because business case is the justification of the project's initiation. But by the time it comes to the normal IT business analyst, you will get just the overview. Okay, this is what we have. This is what the solution we have to provide. All right. So that was the first deliverable which as a business analyst we have to give when we are initiating the project. Along with the business case, we would be giving several other deliverables like feasibility study we would be doing. Feasibility study in the sense as in to be what's the problem we are having, how technically it is possible, how the architecture would be, how much resources we need to be, resources that need to be there. Okay, because if we are adding the resources, obviously the revenue, I mean total profit which we would be getting, that resource and the total expenditure which you are giving on the resource, that will get deducted from there, right? So all feasibility studies also we have to do on the initiation. And also we have something called as a project charter. Again, I will be explaining you how the project charter will look like, and I will be giving you the assignments to create the project charter. So in order to make you understand well about this complete process, for each and every activities which you can see here, what all the deliverables you would be producing here, what deliverables here, not here, sorry, here, in fact here as well, I would be giving the assignments on it. I would be giving you the list of deliverables on this phase, this phase, this phase, this phase, this phase. I would be taking one particular business scenario, one particular business case I would be creating, and on that business case, I want each and every one of you to create the assignments so that at the end of the complete training, you would be able to see the complete flow of one project plus complete flow of one product from start to the end. All right, so these are the list of deliverables which we produce at the case in the time of the initiation phase, and also we have a project manager who decide that how many resources would be there. They will appoint the team, and then how we would be performing our work activities. Those all are something which we start doing it at the time of initiation phase. And then there is something called as a planning and designing. So for sure, if you had worked even on a single day as a business analyst, you might have been doing the planning and designing. This is very important because what you are going to do in the complete project life cycle, you have to plan it here and you have to design it here. So you might have been heard about UML diagrams and all stuff, right? Anybody who doesn't know the UML, I can explain you here so that they will understand what I'm speaking.
This is Tejasvi. Can you please explain UML diagrams to me?
Sure, I will do that. So at this point, I would be explaining you what this UML diagram is all about and why we use it. But in the coming 4 sessions, I would be taking each and every UML diagrams which is available, like activity diagram and use case diagram and sequence diagram. We'll create these diagrams for each and every examples which would be taken forward. All right. Just give me 1 second now. All right. Sorry about that. So, Tejasvi, you were talking about the UML, right? UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. So what this UML diagram is and why we create the UML diagram. So we talked about the project initiation, right? Where we initiate the project, create the business cases and everything. So when we create the business case and everything, that's completely for the management team. So make them understand, okay, what all the artifacts, what all the things we have to deliver and how many resources are required. Everything in the initiation is more for the management team. But when we come to the planning and design, what we do is we try to create the artifacts for the development and the testing team. For the actual people who would be working on the project, for them we deliver at this point. So what all the business cases is there, we would be designing them in the diagrammatical representation so that we can give them the idea that what is there in the system and how the system will interact with the other parts. So let me give you the example. All right, so let me take you the very simple example of Amazon.com, right? So we all do shopping, right? And we love doing shopping as well. I think Kasi is the only person who maybe this is not agreeing with me, but rest I can understand. We all love doing shopping. So in the shopping site, what happened is, let's say you have, it's mandatory for you to log in. So there is a login page, right? Once you log in, you would be selecting the kind of categories on which you want to do the shop. Maybe it's a home decor, maybe it's the electronic goods, or maybe it's women's clothes, right? So you would be selecting the category. So let's say you selected a category out there. And then you would be selecting the kind of subcategory saying you want an ethnic wear or you want to have a Western design. All right, so this is the subcategory. And then again in the subcategory, there can be different kind of categories again, maybe based on the brand, based on the colors, based on your sleeve size, right? So these are all again a subcategory. So once you select, it will add to your cart. Once it is added to your cart, and let's say you are done with your shopping, you would be checkout, and then you will have to do the payment, and then your order has been placed, right? So what was this? This was a flow, complete normal flow from the time when you log in till the time you place the order. All right. So let's say this was your project, but that kind of deliverable is of no use for the management, right? But that is something you have to provide it to your development and the testing team, showing what is the process we are talking about. All right. So, all right. So we were talking about the login, and then we went to selecting the category, and then we went to select the subcategories, and then we had added to the cart, and then we went for the payment, and then there was a checkout by filling up all the addresses. So what we are doing is we are showing them the process from start to the end. All right. So this, in order to develop any product, it's very important that your team member can visualize that what is going on their system. All right. So you can see, you can visualize what I had created, right? But let's say it's not there. Let's say it's not there. Then in that case, you will not be able to visualize what I'm talking about, right? So this is a purpose why it's very much required to create the UML diagram. And that's completely based on the scenario that completely based on the condition that what UML diagram you have to pick. I will be explaining you in the upcoming sessions that which UML diagram have to pick at what point of time, why it is required at that particular point of time. So when we start working on the deliverables, I would be guiding you that is this particular point of time, what deliverable what kind of UML diagram you have to come up with. And those who is not having the complete detail that how the UML diagrams have been made and what is the activity, how you can create a use case diagram. So don't worry, I will be giving you the examples as well, so that you can, at the end of the session, the complete your training, at the end, you would be able to say, okay, if I'm in this phase, definitely I want to have this UML diagram there with me. All right? So we would be discussing those deliverables at this particular point. So that was about the design, and then we have a planning as well. This is very much important. Why we plan? Can anybody explain me There's no need of going, technical, just normal. In your normal life also you plan, right? Why do we plan?
That we can stick to the certain time frame.
Perfect. Yeah, you're definitely right, Tejasvi. So we plan so that we should deliver, or when we plan, we have several milestones, right? So let's say you're planning your life. You said, okay, by this year I would be completing my graduation. By this particular year, I have to start my job. By this particular year, I have to get married. By this particular year, I have to start my family. This is a normal real life example that how you plan. Exactly the same way you plan your project. And if you can see, just after initiation, you have to plan it so that the complete life cycle go based on what you planned at this particular point of time. And that's the reason planning is very much important. And another use of the planning is you can track your project, that whether it's on time and not on the time, whether your project is on risk or whether your project is not on the risk. If it is there on the risk, what all we have to do to mitigate it. Okay, so we'll talk about the risk management as well. See, risk management is more for the project management, but some part of it is applicable for the business analyst as well. I would be telling you why as a business analyst. Because when we work as a business analyst, we work as a multiple. Sometimes, we work as a project manager. Sometimes we work as a product owner. I will be explaining you what is product owner. Sometimes we work as a developer as well. I will be giving you my example where I worked as a developer. There's no need of coding. If somebody says that you have to have a coding knowledge to develop, no. I would be explaining you why you called as a developer. And then sometimes you have to work as a tester. That's very much mandatory. And what all the cases you have to test, I would be explaining. And sometimes you have to work as an implementation person because you have to deal with the CI people, that is continuous integration people, or the people who are the part of implementation team. And sometimes you have to give the support call as well. That is a part and parcel of a business analyst. Everything is something that you have to plan it in the very beginning itself. So when we start, our project, the assignment project, I would be guiding you that at this point, as a BA, what you have to do. Then we execute. So execute is nothing but your coding, testing, coding, testing, coding, testing. These all goes on execution. All right. And then we monitor. See, we monitor and we control. Control in the sense, if any new request is coming, how we will be incorporating that in our project. So that's something called as a controlling. Okay. So I would be explaining.
Can you repeat that? Sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure, definitely. So what the controlling is, let's say you, let me give you an example rather than explaining you theoretically. You were working on the Amazon.com, right? And you were the project. Or let me tell you, this Amazon.com is something we will be taking as a business case in our upcoming sessions to explain you, so that you can even open Amazon.com to create your business case and all the deliverables. All right. Let me take the Amazon.com example here. Let's take example. What Amazon told me that I need to have a we just talked about the subcategory, that how inside the women's cloth there was ethnic and western. All right. Now what happened is we had delivered the project. All right, and the people are using it, and revenue is getting generated for Amazon.com. Now after some point of time, there is a new trend in the market saying fusion cloth. Fusion would be a kind of a mix of the western as well as ethnic. All right, that's called a fusion. So let's say these kind of a cloth that comes into the market. Now what Amazon started saying is, okay, Swati, I have something called as a fusion in the market, which is the mix of both ethnic as well as western, but I cannot keep it in the western, because when I'm keeping in the western, and let's say if someone is thinking about western, they will never come to the western part, and I cannot keep in the ethnic because of the same reason, vice versa, right? So that guy asked me, the Amazon asked me to create a new category named as fusion. All right. So what I would be doing is I'm not going to provide him the solution straight away. Rather, what I would be doing is, I think there is a problem. Are you guys able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So don't mind. Let me mute everyone because I can see sound. In case anybody want to speak up, just ping me over the chat. I will unmute. Okay. All right. So okay. So what I would be doing rather is I would ask Amazon that create a change request for me. If I say change request, that means I had provided you the solution. Now I want you to give me money for your new request. All right. I want to because whatever the new request you come up with will involve effort, will involve resources. I think Namita. All right. Let me unmute you. Namita, are you not able to see my screen? Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I can see just the projects, the first slide, nothing else. So are you showing something else?
No, it's projects. I'm just showing the project itself.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Okay. You, all right. If you want, let me open Amazon.com and then work. Okay, give me 1 second. Amazon.com. Okay, it's getting open. Meanwhile, let's discuss. So I was talking about fusion, right? So Amazon came up and tell Swati, I really want to have this category as a fusion involved on my project because there's so many people who are coming up and asking for the clothes as fusion. Somehow this Amazon server is not coming up. Come on. Come on, baby. All right. So are you guys able to see?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see Amazon here, right? We have categories here, the departments. The category is nothing, but I was talking about the departments, right? And then we were searching for the clothes. Come on, where is the clothes? All right, clothes, right? And then we were talking about the women. So let's click out that. When we went to the women categories, if you can see, again we have subcategories out here. The dresses and your accessories and your brand wise, these are all called as a subcategories, right? And let's say I went to the dresses. Okay, now when I went to the dresses, you can see the brands out here. Okay, and you can see we have several filtering criteria on the very left hand side, right? So let's say these all were the Western, maybe they had not provided again the categories out here. So you can see there is they are the Western clothes, and let's say they have the categories of the ethnic wear, all right. And let's say again they have there's new thing in the market saying fusion, all right. So what they would be asking us is, please provide me a category here along all the filters. You can see it here, right? Please provide me one more category on this side so that the people can filter based on the kind of clothes they want. So If I would be clicking on the Western, so it would be giving me all the options, all the clothes related to Western. When I would be clicking on the Fusion, it would be giving me the all Fusion clothes. All right. So Namita, are you able to understand what I was trying to say?
Yes, yes.
All right. So what we discussed was a complete example of this which we were discussing. See, Namita was able to understand me when I was showing the UI to her, but she was not able to understand me when I was just keep on discussing what this controlling is, right? That's the reason it's very much required for the team members to give them the visual representation of what team wants. Okay. So all right. So we were talking about the controlling. So as Amazon said, I want to have the fusion. Then in that case, I would be creating a new subcategory on the left hand side. But I would ask Amazon that I would be charging for it. I would be charging you for this. Charging will be again depend on so many conditions. Charging can be depend on the number of resources which is required. So for this new change, I need 5 resources. Okay, in which one would be the lead, one would be the BA, one would be the testing team. So I would be charging it from the Amazon. All right. So for that, we have to create one process called as CR. That is change request. All right. Then again, this change request will differ based on the product. This change request will differ based on the project. First point. Second, this change request will differ based on the kind of method you are using. In Agile, if you guys have heard of it, I would be explaining you what is Agile. It would be different for Agile. For Waterfall, it would be different. I would be explaining you both the things, but it will differ. Okay. And your monitoring is nothing but tracking based on your planning. It goes back here, and that's the reason you can see the arrow out. I'm monitoring based on my planning. At the time of planning, I had decided some milestones, right? Based on these milestones, I would be tracking my project. And once everything is done, I would be closing it out. Okay. At the time of closing, again, we have different deliverables that need to be produced. So I would be explaining you them as well. So any questions what this project is?
No.
No.
All right. Reason for project initiation. I think we let me give you the see. You can see all the categories out here, but we have more. We have more than this. We have plenty of reasons that why we initiate the project. I just listed out few of them. Okay. So there are several reasons in order to initiate the project. First, definitely if your market demands for it. Okay. Take the example of Amazon, which we were talking about. My market want to have fusion, and my competitors, again, my competitors have it. Why don't I have it? My competitors have these kind of stuffs out there. I should also provide. I should also be able to provide these stuff, because if your competitor is providing something and you are not having it, then in that case you would be lying back. The best example you can take for this is Apple and Samsung. Okay, so what is this competition is all about? I would be explaining you in the upcoming session. All right, increase the market share. Say if you will calculate everything, everything leads to here. Why and how we can increase the market share? If we are providing something which is very high on demand, or if it is, if you're in what you can say, if your organization is not having it and your competitor is having it, definitely I will be going with your competitor. Why I will come back to you? Definitely I will not, because they are providing me more service, right? So I would be investing in that. So if I want them to invest, or if I want customer to invest on me, definitely I have to provide some new solutions, and in that way we can increase our market share. Okay, comply with the regulations. Sometimes what happens is, or let me give you give you a normal example. When, you know what, let's say, let's go back to, I'm not sure when Amazon came in the existence, but let's say there was a time in 1950 when Amazon has just launched. All right. And there was no taxation out there. Whatever you had purchased and we, it got delivered and it's there in our hand. The same example. Now I'm just taking the example. I may be wrong. Maybe in 1950 again there was a taxes. Okay. So take this just as an example. Now let's say in 1955, government came up with saying that you need to have sales and use tax included on your payment calculation. All right. Earlier, my payment calculation was just involving the amount which is allotted to a product. So when I bought something that was of X and X amount, at the end I have to pay just X and X amount. There was a no taxation involved. But government came up with, saying that you have to provide say 14% or 20% or 8% sales and use tax for each and every product. So that was a change request from this Amazon, saying that there's a new regulation came in the market by the government saying that I have to add 14% to my total calculation. Can you please redesign my calculation module saying that, okay, I have, let me take up the pointer. So let's say my dress was of $20 earlier. So in 1950, I bought it for $20, right? My total was $20. In 1955, when the government came up with a rule of, let's say, $5 per purchase, or maybe $5 or for every $20 product, then the Amazon will come and ask me, can you please add this $5 at every $20 in my payment module. So this is a new change request. But this change request came up because of regulations that has been included by the government. All right. So that is an example of how this can affect your system. Okay. Now create a competitive edge. This again goes back to your this, but there is a slight difference. In this, you have been pressurized by your competitor to come up with a solution. In this, nobody had pressurized you, but rather you came up with some new innovation, right? Something new in your field, something which can create the competition for your competitors. That is also one of the case why we initiate the project. There are so many companies out there who conduct hackathon every year. Maybe the organization which you will join as a business analyst, they will conduct hackathon. Hackathon is nothing but every year you have been given 2-3 days to innovate something in your field. Okay, you don't have to work. Just innovate for those 3 days and come up with a new idea. Okay, and then they rank the idea. So the best idea will get some prize. Why company do that? Because of this, so that they can come up with something new which is not available in the market. All right. So this can also lead to a new project initiation, a new idea, right? And then exploit the emerging opportunities. All right, and many others. As I said, there are many others. So I can list out the complete list where the cases when we initiate the project. All right. Any question in here?
Yeah, what is you say hack? What is it? Sorry, I didn't
Okay.
understand.
Hackathon. That term again keeps on changing your organization to organization. Hackathon is nothing but, marathon, right? What we do, we run.
Oh,
In the same way, we have hackathon. Hack something, hack the idea, come up with
okay,
something very innovative. All right.
okay.
Okay. So, any other questions? All right. Operations versus projects. Okay. Can anybody okay, projects we discuss a lot. What is project? Why we have projects? So let's not talk about the project. Let's talk about the operations. Can anybody tell me what is operations?
Operation is something that we do on a daily basis.
Perfect.
It's like a regular routine.
Awesome. You answered it. Thanks, Amisha, on my behalf. She answered everything. Operations
You're
is
welcome.
nothing. Operations is nothing but whatever you are doing on the daily basis. Operations can be something which is related to your organizational daily activities. Okay, daily activities. Let's say, uh, if you will see, some of the organization have their own model of buying the product. So let's say I'm under some X, Y, and Z is my manager. All right. I want to have a new mouse because my mouse is not working because of some reason, or maybe my charger, the laptop charger is not working for some reason. What I have to do, I have to raise a request to my manager saying that something is not working on my system. What he will be doing is he would be raising a purchase order, and then I will be getting the stuff. I would be getting the resources. I would be getting whatever is required for it. That is example of the operation. That's a general operation, or you can say it's a general management, although it's a continuous process. It doesn't stop, but it's not product. Correct? It's the general routine of your organization, which is repetitive, and it can be unique. It can be non-unique. Most of the time it's non-unique, because if you want something, you have to raise a purchase order. That's a normal process in order to run your organization. All right. So that's all about operation. The role of a project manager. Now, one thing I want, as if you want to pursue your business analyst career, this is very important to know what's the differences. But see, when I'm talking about the differences, there are few similarities, I agree, but there's lots of differences in between the project manager and a business analyst. Now, if you can see my screen, let me draw you some diagrams to make you more understanding what is. Let's say this is the scope of my project. Client want to have this from me, this box. Okay. Or let's take our own example. The Amazon want me to create a fusion as one of the categories. Let's take that consistent example throughout. And we have two persons. That is, one is PM and one is a BA for it. Okay. As a BA, what you would be doing is you would be taking the complete detailed requirement, that why it is required, what we would be achieving, what all the functionality you want, what all the area it would be affecting, okay, and what all the area it would be affecting, and what is your acceptance criteria. When and how and what I would be doing, based on that you would be saying, okay, this is done. You achieved my thing. All right. Those are the area of a business analyst, which is completely related to the requirements. Although BA are sometimes a decision maker as well. Now, when we talk about product manager or a project manager, that's something different, because this is a guy who would be arranging a resource so that these requirements which BA created can be assigned to them. The resources would be a part, and they would be under a project manager. BA sometimes in some organization can report to project manager, but most of the cases no, they don't report to the project manager. Okay. Regarding the planning, obviously both of them will be the part of the planning. When Amazon told that they want to have a fusion, we will have a PM and a BA present in that meeting. But at the time of the requirement gathering and the requirement analysis or elicitation, now there is a difference in between the eliciting the requirement and there is a difference and your requirement analysis. What the difference I would be talking about? Elicitation and requirement gathering are different. They are completely different. So in the whenever you would be coming and getting interviewed for a business analyst, they may ask you this question: what is the difference between the requirement gathering and elicitation? They are far different. Okay. So BA would be involved in elicitation as well as requirement gathering and requirement analysis. PM will not be the part, although PM would be the part of a project planning which will come prior to your elicitation activities. Okay, he would be the one who would be defining the scope. This boundary line is something which PM would be deciding. But the boundary line for your stories that infusion, what all the subcategories would be there. So the boundary line for each and every stories which you can see here, each and every user story or each and every elicitation requirement, this is something which would be decided by the BA. So just remember, the boundary of BA scope will always come under the boundary of PM. Okay, they would be the one who would be creating the project plan. You will be the one who would be planning the requirements. Okay, so when you are saying that this would be done in 10 days, this 10 days would be the part of this 200 days which PM has been decided. Okay, what all the deliverables you would be giving in each and every requirement would be the part of a complete project plan that has been decided by project manager. All right. But if someone says that PM is, PM is the head of a business analyst, that's completely no. They both are two separate streams. Just two separate streams. Okay. Now you can see the life cycle of the complete, what all the activities PM is involved in. This communication is common everywhere. Cost management. All right, so we talked about this cost management, but indirect way. We talked about the resources, right? That for if I want to give this fusion as a category, I need to have 4 resources in which one lead would be there, one BA would be there, and one software engineer would be there, and one tester would be there. So what we are doing is we are costing it. We are raising a cost based on each and every resources, and that's the reason we have something called as cost management. And then we have a quality. This quality comes up when, see, quality is a part of both as a BA as well as PM. When BA approves that it is of worth quality, definitely it will become a part of a project plan. But BA is main responsible for delivering the quality requirement. See, when I'm saying quality, it's not just the quality of the software which you develop, but there is a quality check for the requirements as well. That's very much important. What happens is there are two kinds of a quality check. First at the requirement level, second at the product level. So in the upcoming sessions, I would be explaining you how the quality can be checked for the requirements, so that nobody can raise a doubt on your requirement gathering or your requirement documentation. Is a quality check as well. There are total 7 parameters based on which you can cross verify that whether your requirements are quality well qualified or not. Those quality parameters, definitely when we will be working on the assignment, those parameters I would be sharing them with you. You will make sure that each and every documentation which you had prepared is matching that quality or not. If it is matching all 7 quality parameters, definitely there is no problem. Okay. All right, so the product status or a project status is a completely project manager's role, because they are the one who would be tracking it. Business analyst doesn't track. They just track the requirement, that whether that has been met or not. But project tracking is a part of a project manager. Okay. Product versus project needs. This again comes, this common in both. Sometimes for the project need, even BAs are there to do the feasibility study, that's why this is required. Changes, they both are the part. And if you remember, I gave the example. BA is a part because they want to know why this change is required, why you want this change, and where these changes will get affected. But project manager is involved because they have to do the cost management, right? How much cost will be involved in that changes. User need, they both will be the part. User need comes under the planning. So when we will be discussing about more detail about the planning, we will be discussing about the user need. And monitoring is definitely, see, there are 2 kinds of monitoring. One is your requirement monitoring, which BA would be doing. One would be your project monitoring, which PM would be doing. And planning, as we already discussed, planning definitely PM would be involved. Teamwork, again, that depends. If business analyst is having here their own team who is involved, obviously BA can also do it. If you're a lead BA and you have several juniors BAs who are supporting you, then you can also do a teamwork. Else PM definitely all the resources report to them, so they would be involved in the teamwork. Strategy, it's a ocean, it's a very big topic. So when we'll discuss about the enterprise analysis, we'll discuss what is strategy. Okay. And then we have a line management. Even this is something which we would be discussing at the time of enterprise analysis. Right? Any question on any of the part of a project manager?
No.
No.
All right. Business analyst. All right. To be very frank, from last 8 years when I started my career as a business analyst, I really started loving this career because there's so many things that depends on you. You know what, once we get the requirement, when you analyze it, when you build it, and if you can see something online available for which you had did the requirement gathering, you will feel so happy. So let me give you the example. I was working on one of the project. It was related to Google. Okay, so when what happened when you will open a Google and when you will see hotels in San Francisco, okay, so you will get it will provide several suggestions, but Google will also provide their own suggestions. Maybe let me give the example. Oh, come on. Mm, okay, somehow it's not working for me. There's some problem showing it here. Anyways, if you will Google on your system as well, just type hotels in whatever the area you are in, whatever the city you are in. So you will see that the Google will provide you several links. Plus, Google will provide you their own suggestion with the map on the top. They will display the map, and then on the down it will display you the drop down of the date and I mean from date to date and the list of the hotels which are available. Right. So that was the project which I did, I think 2-3 years back. So when I see that it is online and I was the one who was working on it, I feel so proud, right? Because I came up with the idea, okay, there should be from, there should be to, there should be based on the rating, there should be based on the price, there should be based on the hotel class, there should be based on the kind of things which you are providing, maybe free Wi-Fi, free breakfast, or free service, some free services based on the stars or based on the rating. I would be providing the option. So you will really feel, proud when you will see that something which you all worked on is there online. All right. So as a business analyst, you will definitely love your job because whatever you are doing is at the end of the day, you can see that the people are using it, right? So it's a very, you will get the kind of a satisfaction. At the end of the day, you will feel so much relaxed that something which you had developed is being utilized by the people, right? You are getting recognized for it. All right, but there are several skills that BA need to have when they are working on those kind of requirements. All right, so we'll discuss them later on. So first, it's a very generic thing. What is business analyst? So can anybody tell me what is business analyst? Analyst is trouble.
So the business analyst is someone who analyzes an organization or a business domain, whether it's a real or a hypothetical, and put the documents in the business and process them according to the system required, and assessing the business model so that they can, use the new technology technologies and integrate them.
Perfect, perfect, Disha. That was awesome. So that is what exactly the business analyst did. And what business analysts do is they do the business analysis. So can anybody tell me what is analysis? What this analysis is? So what Disha? Yeah, go ahead.
To take an idea and to be able to understand it so you could fully explain it or give a justification.
Perfect. So if you will combine what Disha said and what Amisha said, that is something which business analysts do. Okay. As a business analyst, I am the person who would be delivering kind of deliverables I have to produce, that what all the things is required at which phase. But I would be providing the justification that why I need it. And my business analysis is the word I'm emphasizing is because how a BA need to analyze is something I would be teaching you. Okay. See, how you would be analyzed is something which comes up with with the as as soon as the more project you work in, the more you will come to know how you do the analysis, what all the things that is involved in the analysis, and what all the tools you have to use in order to complete your analysis. So the assignments which I was talking about, I would be explaining you how you can analyze. And don't worry, I would be giving you the assignments, something related to, I would be creating 3-4 assignments. You can just pick what assignment you want to take. I would be taking one as an Amazon, but you have to design the business case and everything from the scratch, because I would be just telling, okay, this is my Amazon.com is my competitor. I want something similar. I would be your client. I will be telling you that I want something similar. Design the deliverables, analyze, and produce the documents for me. So for each and every member, I would be creating a separate assignment so that everyone, they should be able to know how you would be analyzing. And I would be using the live examples like Amazon.com or maybe some other sites which you can, visualize as well. So that it's an existing site, you can use it, you can open, and based on that, you can design your deliverables. But make sure just don't copy paste. Come up with something new which is not there. All right. So maybe let's take the example of Amazon. There's no 360-degree view. As far as I know, 360 view is nothing but when you buy a product, you can see, okay, a girl standing wearing that cloth, but you won't be able to identify that how that cloth will look like when I'm wearing it. Maybe the don't mind, but maybe the figure of that girl is different than the figure of mine, right? I'm just giving you the example. So how you can customize it? Just come up with the new ideas that you want to be there on that system, and create a business case for it. All right. So we will be discussing that in the upcoming sessions, so that it would be a kind of a live project for you. All right. So that is nothing but the business analyst. You analyze something that need to be there. Okay. And what the solution can often composed of, that can be a system development component. All right, maybe you want to develop just a small component. We were talking about the fusion, right? So maybe fusion is a component out there. All right, so maybe you want to come up with the component, maybe the process improvement. So we were, if you remember, let me go back to the slide number. This was the process we were following. All right, so maybe you don't want to have two separate screens. Maybe you want to improve this complete process. You want to incorporate something. Maybe you want to remove something from this process because there is a duplicacy. All right, so those kind of thing is called as a process improvement. There are several tools for the process improvement. I will be showing you those tools, that how you can work on the process improvement. And trust me, you will love doing the process improvement a lot. Once I mean, personally, I love doing the process improvement because lots of things are dependent on you when you are working on the process improvements. All right, lots of business rules you will be coming up with, and you will definitely learn it. All right, and then organizational change. So there are some organizational changes happening in your system. So if you will see under this category, most of HR related solution comes. So maybe your HR related solution is something you have to redesign because of there was some organizational change that is happening. All right. So that would be the part of your organizational change. So there are several components, there are several process improvement, or maybe because of organizational changes, you have to develop a solution. There are some other criteria as well. I had just included few. All right. And definitely I want you guys to come up with more and more, we would be doing a kind of a brainstorming. It should not be just one way communication. When I would be giving you the problem, I want everyone to brainstorm on that. So we have several techniques of the requirement gathering, right? So when we would be up in the upcoming sessions, when I would be giving you the assignment, okay, before giving you the assignment, I would be giving you one question, and we all will be doing the brainstorm and writing the requirements for it. So that would be a live session kind of, where we all will be working on the requirements. All right, so we all be will meet and we all will be doing a requirement at one point. So that would be more interactive sessions for us, all of us. All right. So role of a business analyst. We all talked about everything related to business analyst. So what all we discussed so far is nothing but the role of a business analyst. All right. Starting from the initiation phase till the end. All right. So business analyst, if you will see what I wrote in the screen, they are the liaison among the stakeholders and your team members. All right. So stakeholders can be different. Now, if you remember, I keep on saying that project and products are different, the deliverables are different, the kind of requirement gathering sessions can be a bit different. Okay. So when I say stakeholder, there can be two kind of stakeholders. They can be internal stakeholder, they can be external stakeholder. So when I say internal stakeholder, that means if you're working on some internal project, maybe related to HR, all right, or something related to your purchase requisition or purchase requisition kind of stuff. So that that time you have to work with your internal stakeholder to take the requirements. And believe me, working with the internal stakeholder requirements is is as difficult as working with the external stakeholder. Why? Because you have to leave with your internal stakeholders. All right. At some point of time, once your project is closed, you have just to provide the support to the external stakeholder. But the internal stakeholder are the one to whom you have to leave with. If they are having any problem, they will come to your desk. They will ask you to resolve. So it's equally challenged. All right. So the stakeholder can be two, maybe internal or external. So you have to be kind of a bridge in between the stakeholders and your team. When I say your team, that means your development, your testing team, your support team, your operational team. All right. And what I would be doing as a business analyst is I would elicit the requirement and I will analyze the requirement. This analyze and the requirement gatherings and everything I was telling, they are two separate terms. All right, so never use that eliciting and requirement analysis are same. They are two different. Now, communicating what all the requirement I get it from the stakeholder and then validating it. You remember I was talking about validating the requirements, right? That's the same thing. As a business analyst, I have total 7 categories based on which I would be validating my requirement, whether my requirements are correct or not. So there are two things. One is validating the requirement. One is verifying the requirements, which is I think is missing here. Anyways, there are two different processes for the requirement. And as a BA, you can validate only when your verification is done. All right. I will be explaining you what and why it is required. Okay. But let me give you the example. Let's say I was having a requirement. All right. But that requirement is not complete. Okay, my requirement is not complete in the sense Amazon.com, right? I was having a login page. Okay, I was having a username, right? Type in username. I was having type in password. All right, that was my requirement, and that's it. Done. I wrote the acceptance criteria. But what if I forgot my password? What I have to do? Can anybody tell me?
You would have to go to back to step 1.
Sorry.
So you would have to start all over again from your first step when you wrote the requirement or the steps?
Right. See,
You have to click on the link for forgot password.
obviously, so Amisha and Tejasvi, you both are right. Now, let me tell you one thing. I was talking about, I was having a username, I was having a password, and I said my requirement is done, but I didn't say that I have to have a forgot password, because what if I forget my password? So that's the incorrect requirement. That's the incomplete requirement. The requirement says just username and password, but it was not talking about forget password. All right. But when this will go live, saying just username and password, the users will feel a pain because they don't have a forget password, and there are chances. Definitely, if I, when I do shopping, if I have my account on 10 sites, for 9 of them, I always keep on forgetting the password. I always click on, forget password. So that is an example of an incomplete requirement. Your requirement should always be complete. So that is the example of verifying the requirements. So once you verify your requirement, you have to validate it. So I will be explaining you the criteria that how you can say your requirements are verified, how you can say your requirements are validated. Any questions here?
No.
No, no.
All right. Now let's go to the second point. The business analysts understand the business problems. Definitely they have to understand the business problem, because when I'm providing the solution, I should be aware that whether my solution is achieving the business need or not. If I'm coming up with my solution, okay, Google came up with me, or let's say Amazon.com. Okay, Amazon.com came up with me and they asked me for the fusion category, right? But let's say I provided the fusion category, but that fusion was giving me, you know what? It was giving me all the westerns dresses, right? So that's not it's not satisfying the need of my client. It is not satisfying the need of my Amazon.com, right? So in order to understand that what solution I have to give, I have to understand the business problem. The business problem of Amazon was they have a separate criteria itself for the fusion. They don't want to show the Western wear. They don't want to show the ethnic wear. They just want to show the fusion one. Okay, so that was a problem. That was a business problem. So I have to provide the solutions for it. Now, if you will see the opportunities, this is very interesting thing. You know what? It's a kind of a tricky game. Let me tell you why and how. You can generate a revenue for your own company. You know how? Let's say take the example of same fusion, right? They asked me and they came up with me. They came up and saying that I want to have a fusion. This is my requirements. You analyze. You gave it. Say this is how your solution will look like. Amazon will say, okay, I'm agreeing. It should show me all the fusion clothes. It will be having the filtering criteria based on the colors. Let's say all that. Maybe after an hour or after an hour so, you would came up with some new solution saying, okay, apart from the solution which I gave, what if I provide you something else as well? Some add-on on that fusion. Okay, and that should be very exciting, that Amazon will say, hooray, yeah, even I want to have this. This is very, very ultimate, and I want this particular new plugin to be a part of all my solutions. So as a business analyst, you play a very tricky role, because what you would be doing is you would be saying, sir, I'm going to charge it for this. All right. So that is something, the opportunities which you can come up with. You can search for the opportunities. Okay. And also you can recommend the solution. Now, let me tell you one thing. A good BA will always come up with at least 2 solutions, minimum. If in case you don't have a roundabout solution, or if in case you can able to just come up with just one solution, it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. If your client is happy, that's good. But if as a BA you are coming up with more than one solution, you will be getting your client will have a faith on you, or your client will you will get the goodwill of the client, and that's good for your organization in the upcoming projects. They would be trying to invest on you, right? Because they will feel that you guys are working for me. You guys are so much thinking about us that you provided us the choice of selecting one out of two. All right. So that's the reason it's always good that you are providing more than one solution. Definitely your client would be very happy. Okay. Now, okay, so BA is responsible for ensuring that the project's output meet the requirement of the business and that is fit for a purpose. That is a part of UAT plus requirements. This is a very important point which I would be explaining you in the upcoming sessions. Okay, so when I say it meets the project output, my project output was I want to have a fusion. But as a BA, when I am done with the requirement, I have to perform the user acceptance testing, saying, okay, my user acceptance testing has been done. I can say that my requirements has been met with the user's requirement and this is ready to go. All right. Any questions on the role?
No.
No.
This is very interesting. So once we are ready with what the business analyst is, definitely you should always go for a certification. I'm also certified. I think last year itself on May, I got certified myself. There are lots of knowledge area which is involved and these are having the separate knowledge areas. I can explain you a bit about it if everyone is having the similar understanding, because if everyone is not on the same page, then in that case it can create a confusion between among all. So are you all okay that I can explain you a bit about what this BABOK is?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let me begin with enterprise analysis. I was keep on talking that enterprise analysis is something which is where all the BAs go. Okay, because at this point I was talking about creating the business cases, right? So when I'm as a BA, I'm here, I would be writing my business cases. I would be saying that why this is required in my system. Okay, I would be creating a business cases. So based on that business case, I would be doing the requirement analysis. So I came up with saying that I want to have a fusion there. I would be creating a business case. Okay, if fusion is there on the place, there would be more revenue generated because people there are more inclined towards the fusion dresses, right? So that's my business cases, and we would be getting more and more customers, and we would be getting generating more and more revenue. All right. So that is a part of a business case. Based on that business case, what we would be doing is we would be doing the elicitation. Once this is done, it would be going for the elicitation. Now, why it is inside a box, I will be explained. Actually, you would be understanding more when you are working on the bare box side. But for now, just understand, based on the enterprise analysis, we will elicitate the requirement. Elicitation is first level of taking the requirements from the client. Now, let's take the example of a pen. My clients want to create me, or they want me to manufacture a pen, right? And what requirement they would be giving? My pen should be lightweighted. My pen should be an ink pen, and it should not have a cap. Okay, and I should be able to tie my hair with the help of this pen. Okay, you all got my requirement, right? So can anybody tell me what is the irrelevant requirement in all these requirements? If you
Being
want,
able to tie your hair with the pen.
perfect, Amisha, you got it right. So at the time of felicitation, we jot down the as much as requirements as we can. We just write. No matter what client says, we just write it. If that client asked me, maybe she was a beautiful lady. She want to tie her hair, but she don't want to invest her money in buying the hair clips. She want to utilize that pen. But she gave me this requirement. I jotted down. But that's not the requirement, right? That's something which is not possible, which is not feasible. So that feasibility of the requirement is something which you would be doing at the time of requirement analysis. Once you get your elicitation requirements, you would be analyzing them, whether that requirement is really a requirement. Okay. And let me tell you one thing. No one in this world can say that the business analyst cannot say no to a client. They can say. If the requirement something like that tying the hair comes up, you have to take a stand. You have to make them understand. But you should be very much polite in order to explain you why this tying your hair should not be a part of your requirements. Okay, so you should be very polite when you are telling it. You have to explain them in the sense that they should not feel that deserted. They should not feel that. But at the same time, you have to make them understand, boss, this tying a hair is not a requirement. All right. So requirement analysis, at this time you would be analyzing your requirements completely. You would be doing your feasibility study at this point, whether that requirement is technically possible or not. Your tying a hair was not a technical requirement. It's not technically possible. So you would be doing the feasibility study, and the feasibility study report is something which you would be providing it to your client, saying this requirement is possible, this is not possible, this is feasibly not possible, technically not possible. All right. So once you're done with your requirement analysis, you would be moving and you would be validating your requirements. Here, something which I was talking about, the validation and verification of the requirement, is something which happens here. Whether on your analyzed requirement, whether they are correct or not, whether they are complete or not, whether they are coherent or not. So we have several criteria. So all those everything related to requirements would get validated here. Okay, this is a requirement validations as well as the solution validations as well. Why solution validation? You will come to know slowly. We'll do everything which you can see here. We'll do each and everything when we will be working on our assignments. You can see the requirement management and communication is something which keeps on going every time when this is happening. This is nothing but it says requirement management is all about your change request, which we were talking about, controlling, if you remember, right? So if any new requirement comes up, we again have to do the elicitation, we again have to do the requirement analysis, we again have to check that the new requirement is as per your business case or not. If it is not, then there's no need of, providing that solution. If there is something which is out of this, then in that case, that would be treated as a separate project itself. Okay, so that's the reason requirement management in combination. Obviously, we have to communicate all the time when we are dealing with all these stuff, right? So that also need to be taken care, and everything has been monitored and planned by a business analysis. So what this knowledge area says is, first, what deliverables you have to provide in all these knowledge areas, you have to list it down first. So at this point, BA will say that what deliverables they will be giving here, everywhere. So at this point, they have to provide the plan. That is called as a business analyst plan. What is the plan for me for this project? The planning is something that we have to provide. And monitoring is because if whether BA is going as per their plan or not, that will get monitored. If not, it will gonna hamper your it will gonna hamper your yearly appraisal because you were not asked for your plan. So that's the reason BA monitoring is there. And underlying competency, I was talking about something not feasible, sir. We cannot give you a pen for tying your hair. That is something which comes under underlying competency because the way you have to communicate is very important. It's all communication, how you would be communicating with your internal stakeholder, how you would be communicating with your external stakeholder, how you can say no to something, how you can say, okay, we can go ahead. It's the part of our underlying competency, which as a BA, you should have it. Right? Any questions here?
No.
Okay. All right. So you can get the more details about what the business analyst is and what all the what all the BA do in the software projects and what are the certifications. You can see the YouTube link for all of them and what is the career path of a business analyst also, you can watch it here. All right, so I have provided all the YouTube link. Disha, are you not able to hear me? I can see a ping from her. Amisha, Tejasvi, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Disha, can you check your uh, phone? Disha, you there? She's not able to hear, I guess.
Yes, I am there, but your voice is so much cracking in between, and
Oh,
I guess when we started the diagram, that's it. I heard. After that, I didn't heard
oh
anything.
my God, that was a long back. All right, so no problem. I'm recording this.
Yeah, I messaged you even.
I just saw it now. I'm so sorry. So no problem, Disha. I'm recording this session. So you can reach out to Monica for this. She will be providing you the recordings. Will that work? Disha? Okay. Amisha, are you able to hear me? Amisha, Tejasvi and all, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. No problem.
All right. So no problem, Disha. If you are able to hear me, I would be providing, I mean, you can touch base with Monica. She would be providing you the complete video.
Sure,
Okay. All right.
sure.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
So you can see the links I had provided. It is related to our business analyst. If you want to know more about what this business analysis is, you can refer them. This PPT and everything. If you guys, I mean, by the end of the session, I will be taking the email IDs and the phone number of each one of you. I will ask Monica to reach out to you and give you the access of what all the materials we have. We have all the videos. We have all the assignments, the existing assignments, and I would be sharing all the assignments on the shared folder so you guys can have access of it. Whenever you are ready with your assignments, you can upload your assignment there. So everything will happen. Just at the end of the session, provide me your your email ID and the phone number so that I can share that with Monica. Okay, so the relationship between the project manager and business analyst. We had discussed this already, but let me go what is it is written in the slide. We had already discussed when we were discussing about the fusion, that what all the things come for the fusion, what all the things that will come under a project manager, what all the things that will be coming under a business analyst, right? We'll go what's there in the slide. Sorry. Okay, we have something. All right, let me go back here. It's written Babok. Anybody know what is Babok?
No.
Okay. Babok is business analysis body of knowledge. Okay, Babok is a guide. Okay, it's a guide where it has been defined that as a BA, what is the best practice you should do. It will give you at that each and every step what as a BA you should perform and how you can say whatever you did was perfect. So it's a kind of guide for a business analyst. And it's very good. Believe me, it's very good because it will give you the complete idea what this BA is. But somehow it's at the higher level. It's not at, I mean, when you are already experienced as a BA for 3, 4 years, then you would be able to understand what this guide says because you had already been worked as a BA. But nevertheless, when we will be doing the assignments, when I will be giving you the assignment, when you are done with the assignment, definitely you can have a look on the Babok. You would be understanding everything. Okay. So in the similar way, we have something called as PMBOK. That is Project Management Body of Knowledge. It is for the project managers. So the one which I was talking about, Babok, was for the business analyst, and this PMBOK is for the project manager. It is again a guide for the project managers that how they can manage a project, how they can plan the project, how they can create the project charter, how they can track the project, how they can create the budgets, how they can do the resource management. So everything which we had discussed on the previous slides, where there was a circle round and I was telling that, yeah, this slide, everything will come under your PM box, all the roles and responsibility of a project manager. Okay, and then who is a business analyst? Let me tell you this: it's not required that you should have a designation as a business analyst. Sometimes what happen, even a developer do a business analysis, because when they get the requirement, they also analyze sometimes, right? That, okay, what if we have this requirement there on the place? So whoever do the requirement analysis, whoever come up with the solution, whoever do the validation, sometimes testing also do the UAT testing team. So all those people are nothing but they are performing the business analysis roles at some or other point. Okay, but one difference that would be there is the business analyst would be a point of contact for the stakeholders for taking the requirement. All right, they will be the one who would be designing the process. Although they can get the suggestion from their peers, they can get the suggestion from different people. Good listening skill is always best for the business analyst. Just listen what others says, take their ideas. If it is valid, let's talk to the client. If it is not valid, it's okay. It's nothing bad in listening the ideas, right? So that is what the BA business analysts do. It's all about understanding the problems, business problems, and come up with the opportunities, right? The role of a BA and PM, project manager, is responsible for ensuring the objective of a project is met and the output delivered on the time. So we were talking about fusion, right? Whether the fusion module has been delivered on the time or not, what was the cost that has been involved, what was the quality that we have delivered, what was the whether we were on the time or not. So everything related to those criteria for the fusion will come under project manager. Okay, and as a BA, what I have to do, I have to make sure that my requirements is meeting the business need. So business need or the business problem was they want to see the fusion there. Okay, so my requirement which I came up with is meeting those business needs or not. That is a part of a business analyst. So hopefully everyone got the differences in the B and PM. Anyone who is having any question?
No.
No. All right. Okay, it's the same thing. If you will see, we had discussed everything here, all the knowledge areas, all these knowledge areas of PM, and these are the knowledge areas for business analyst. So the same thing I had entered here, the same knowledge areas wise, I had differentiated it. Okay. So we talk lots about the differences. Now let's talk about the similarities. Why there is a difference? If somebody is talking about differences, that means there should be some similarity. That's the reason they want to have a difference present there, right? So these are the list of the similarities which both of them need to be possessing, right? First is they must be having a good communication skill. If you're not having a good communication skill, you won't be able to make the client understand what exactly they want. Believe me, you cannot trust a client that they know what they want, right? I gave you the example of tying my hair with a pen. Client was not aware that they don't want to tie it, right? They were not aware. But as a BA, I have to make them understand you don't want to, you really don't want. Okay. So I need to possess some good communication skills so that I can communicate to the client saying this should not be a requirement because of so and so reason. This is not possible. So that can only be happen when you have a good communication skill, for sure, right? Plus, you should have a good listening skill as well, which I have not mentioned. I don't know about the project manager. I think they should also have a good listening skill, but as a BA, definitely you should have a good listening skill. I'm not sure about the project manager. Why? Because I would be very, I mean, this can be a very humorous thing, but they are the cases when the resource asks for the leave, right? The project manager will say, no, I cannot allow a leave because we have a project deadline, right? So in that case, maybe your project manager is not good listener. You can say, but that's not the case with the business analyst. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
No.
All right. Now, understanding of SDLC, software development life cycle, is something I would be discussing in detail. What is software development life cycle, and what all the kind of SDLC methods we have in the market. What is very much in trend in the market, and you should know. But what all the methods which is there in the market, but it's less utilized. But you should be knowing that what all those things are. All right. So everything I would be discussing in the upcoming session. But SDLC is something I would be covering in this session. But methods maybe the next session. Negotiation and consensus building. It again goes back to my tying the hairs. I should be able to negotiate on my requirements, right? And then strong interpersonal skill and client management. Definitely, you can take the same example of tying your hair. So if you see the example which we took is very good for this. This is whole good if I have all these things there in place. This negotiation is very important. Let me tell you, I was working with, I have worked with so many clients situated across the globes, but I faced difficulty when I was working with some of the client who was from Philippines, because it was difficult for me to make them understand that what they want. It was an academics project which I was having, but it was very difficult for me to make them understand that what they want. It was related to their educational system, their grading system, the grading system of their examination. So what I did was I created a mock-up. I explained them that what if the requirement which they are saying, if we are incorporating in the system, how can it will affect them itself, right? So for that, you should have your negotiation skill there on the top, that how you can negotiate with the requirements. You cannot say yes to all the requirements, but you cannot say directly no to all the requirements. You should be able to know that how you would be negotiating your requirements. So it's a good point when we would be working on our assignments. I will create some typical scenarios where I would work as a stubborn client, and you have to negotiate with me that why it is not possible. Maybe I would be providing you some vague requirements, some weird requirements, but I want you guys to come up with your negotiation skills, saying that it is not possible, and give me the explanation that why it is not possible. All right. So in that way we can learn how as a BA you should be able to negotiate with the requirements. All right. Any questions?
No.
No.
Okay. So the differences we already came up with so many differences, but let's walk through here. To provide a big picture, definitely when I was explaining about the fusion, I explained you that fusion, a big project picture is a part of a project manager, but the BA should be very detailed oriented when they are writing up the requirements. They directs the project team, but this guy listens to the people. I was talking about the listening skill, right? It's very much required. Not just SME, but so many people they have to listen to. They have to listen to the developers and the testers as well. I will be explaining you why they have to listen to them. Because if you're not listening them, definitely they will make your life miserable. To be very practical, you have to listen to each and every member. But at the same time, do what is best for your industry. Now, helps people or a project team to get the things done, definitely, because they are the one who would be doing all kind of resources they would be providing, or if the team member is stuck somewhere, then they would be providing that how they can go forward. But these guy helps the subject matter expert describing why and why they perform the task. I mean, how and why they perform the task in the senses. SME, you can say, okay, everybody knows what is SME, or you want me to explain what is SME?
Can you please explain?
Sure. So SME is nothing but subject matter expert. All right. So you can say when I'm a tax filer, right? Let's say I'm the one who would be filing the tax. So I'm a subject matter expert in the taxation. I know the subject. I know everything about the tax, right? So I'm a subject matter expert. And if let's say uh, you are a BA, then you want to design a product related to tax or a project related to tax, you would be coming to me and you would be asking me the requirements, right? And that is, I would be telling you the requirements. As a subject matter expert for tax, I would be explaining you the requirements. You would be listening my requirements. Plus, you will be helping me to describe how and why the task can be performed. The task or the solutions which you would be creating, that solution, how you can achieve, how we can achieve the business need from your solution, you would be explaining it to me. All right.
Okay.
Now the next is ensure that the product is delivered on time within budget. We talked lot about this. Ensure the project is built right according to the requirements. It's nothing but your verification and validations of the requirement, UAT of the requirements, acceptance criteria has been met. Everything as a BA you have to perform. So this is very much required for them. Remove the issues and barriers. If any team member is blocked, as a PM, I should be able to remove that blocks. Okay, and identify the business issues. If my subject matter expert is blocked because of some issue, then I will identify. I will be doing the root cause analysis. Now, root cause analysis is also a technique as a BA that a business analyst should be doing. So this this technique is business analysts have some techniques there, which is not a part of the content, course content, but at the end once we get the time, then in that at that time we'll go through the techniques. Or maybe when we will be working on the assignments, I would be telling you the technique which you can use for your requirement gathering. And you can use those techniques. And at the same time, I will explaining you that technique and you can use them for writing your requirement. You can use them for gathering the requirements. All right. So in that way, we can cover the techniques part as well. And what I will do apart from this is I will share I will share that I have a complete PPT design for the techniques. I will share that with Monica. You can take from her. So it is having the list of all the techniques which you can use as a BA. All right. Then we have managed the project change control and then manage the requirement change control. We manage the requirement change request, right? Change request we had talked about. Okay, if this is a new requirement, you have to create a complete documentation. What areas will get hampered? You would be completing complete documentation for it. But at the same time, what project manager would be doing is they would be charging a client for your change request. So they are controlling it. Then work WBS, so as the name indicates, work breakdown structure. So before going and explaining this topic, let me tell you what this work breakdown structure is. Okay, so let me ask you what is work breakdown structure. Okay, so all right. So guys, I have a question for you. Provide me the steps. All right. As a user, I want to design a login screen of Amazon.com. Okay. Can you tell me the kind of requirements that I have to come up with? It's just a one-line requirement saying I want to have a login screen in Amazon.com. What all things I require?
Password requirement, username requirement. For example, how many characters a password should have, how many characters a username should have.
Okay, Sudha is also writing username password tabs. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
Yeah, go ahead. I think Disha is facing problem. Hiral, I am not able to hear you. Maybe you can type in the chat window.
Yeah, I was not able to hear you, so I disconnected and reconnected again. So I missed a bit of class.
Sure. So my question now is, I'm a Amazon. I'm your client. I have one requirement saying that I want to design a login screen for myself. Okay. As a business analyst, tell me what all the steps I have to do. What all the things you
You,
provide.
you will provide them with the user ID and password. So when you are dealing with the user ID, you can give them an option if you want to give, or the domain provides them.
Mm-hmm.
And password, and remembering, you can give them the question to remember the password and alternative ID, so that if you forget, you can get the email or forget password to that ID.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And maybe I can give them first two options. One is sign up and then sign in, and then sign. In the case of sign up, for what all you said is applicable. In the case of sign
Yes.
in case of sign in, I can.
Yes. Yeah, if you want to sign up, you can give them the details, your name, your
Mhm.
last name, your email ID, and
Right.
the information related to that.
Yes. And in the case of sign in, maybe I can provide the forward password. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's awesome. Everyone has given the input. That's good. So that is nothing but we are doing the breakdown. The thing which we discussed, the things which you all said was a breakdown. Okay. There was one requirement saying I want to have a login screen. You guys came up with saying there should be a username, there should be a password, there should be sign in, there should be sign up, there should be a forgot password, there should be ability to validate, there should be ability to verify, there should be ability to give the email address. What was that? That was a breakdown stories. Okay, that is something is a part of a business analyst. So as a user, they will just give you one line requirement saying I want to have a login screen. But as a business analyst, you have to come up with the breakdown requirements. What we discussed was the breakdown requirements. Got it? So as a BA, you would be performing the requirement breakdown. As a project manager, they would be managing those requirements, whether it has been met or not. Everyone is clear?
Yes.
Good. Now there is a possesses the management skill and it possesses the investigative skill. Investigative, definitely what we were doing in this, we were investigating that what all things it is required, right? But what PM would be doing, they are making sure that what all we came up with is going perfectly. My team is delivering them. It's on time. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. Alright, so it's a saying the best way to guarantee success of any project is to have a strong experienced project management skill as well as a strong experienced business analyst skill. It's always good to have that you have a, it's always good to have a PM skill along with the business analyst skill. But I said it's good to have. It's not must have. Alright, so here comes the STC, that is nothing but the software development life cycle. So instead of going on all these theoretical stuff, so let me explain you first what is STLC and then I will come back to these points. Alright, so what happens is when we develop any project, what we did is first we initiate. We talked on the very first slide that we initiated, we created a business case based on several factors that there was a competition in the market, there was a regulatory, the government had told me that I have to include some taxes, right? So there's so many things, or there's so many factors based on which I came up with saying that I need to have a business case for initiating my project. Okay. So once the project has been initiated, I would be planning it. That how, when, what milestones that would be there that need to be delivered, when, what all the modules that would be there, and everything I would be analyzing and planning it. The complete project I would be planning at this particular point of time. And then I would be creating the requirement specifications. Requirement specification in the sense all the documentation related to your analyzing or planning based on the requirement planning. You would be coming up with several UML diagrams. Okay, UML diagrams are the requirement specification, not the UML diagrams, sorry. It's all about your software requirement specification, business requirement specification. These all are the artifacts which we would be covering in the upcoming sessions. So that is a part of a BA. Alright, to create the requirement specification, I would be explaining you how you can create all those documents and when this document should come in the place, why we require those documentations. So as a BA, you would be preparing all the documentation based on these two, and then you would be designing nothing but you would be creating the UML diagrams for all your requirements. Okay, so once you design your requirements, you would be giving it to your development team where they can develop each and everything. They would be doing the coding, then there would be a testing for your requirements that would go on, and then you would be delivering your things to the client, and then you would be providing the support. All right. So if you will see the outer circle, there's something called as define project scope, where you would be defining the scope, and then you would be specifying the feature and the baseline system. This baseline is very much important. This baseline is nothing but when you freeze your requirement, that is nothing but your baseline requirements. Okay. This phase you were just brainstorming among yourself that what is required and what is not required. But when you came up at this point, at this point, you freeze the requirement by saying sign off or freezing the requirement, that if any further requirements come up, that would be a kind of a change request again. Alright, so when this is done, this is the building phase where the actual solution gets built, and then you would be delivering that to the customer. So that is the cycle. This complete cycle is called as a software development life cycle. Right? So as a business analyst, when you are going for the interview, this would be definitely one of the questions, that what is software development cycle, and also there would be a question that what you deliver at each and every phase. These are called as the phases. So what you deliver at each and every phases of your software development life cycle. Alright, so let's go back to theoretical part. SDLC is a framework. Definitely it's a framework because all the requirements you build, you are providing a framework for it. Okay? Alright? And what all the tasks you would be performing at each and every step is something that gets defined here. And SDLC is a structure followed by the development team within the software organization. Alright? A life cycle model defines phases, milestones, deliverables, and evaluation criteria for software development process. These are nothing but the phases. At each phases, what your deliverables would be. Your milestone, that first milestone is this. Your initiation is done. Second milestone is this. Your analysis is done, right? Likewise, we have development code freeze date. Code freeze is nothing. Let's say today is 25th. On 25th of June, my code freeze should be done. That means the development team should not be making further changes. Now testing freeze date. So those are nothing but the deliverables that is present in the software development lifecycle. Right? Various SDLC methods are there, which I would be explaining you. There is waterfall, there is agile, there is extreme programming, there is RUP, there is a prototyping. So a number of methods are there, which is a part of our next session where I would be explaining you why there is a waterfall. And let's make that the second session as a more of assignment session, so that when I'm giving you the theory, meanwhile we will be working as well, where you can create and you will decide. I will give you several examples and you guys can tell me which method is the best in order to reduce your requirements. Alright, so we have several methods for the SDLC. We will be discussing in our next session. Requirement analysis. This is next to your requirement elicitation. Okay, when you do the requirement analysis is when you had already done the elicitation. So in the requirement analysis, when you analyze your requirement, there are several deliverables that you produce. Now, when I say requirement analysis, I am going each and every phase wise. So when I would be doing the requirement analysis, these would be the list of deliverables is something which I would be doing. Now you can see from the deliverables such as feasibility report, where I would be saying whether this requirement is feasible or not. My pin requirement that tying my hair was not a feasible requirement, right? So I would be creating a report why it is not feasible. My cost benefit analysis, that if we are delivering this solution, how and what cost I can achieve from this. Then the risk assessment, what are the risks that is involved if we are delivering this particular requirement. This risk assessment is something which although it's not part of a course of content, but I want you guys to understand what is the risk in the requirements. That's very much important, that as a BA business analyst you should be aware of. So when we would doing assignments, we would be talking about the risk of the requirements. Then the business use cases, definitely that this would be our first step when we would be working on our assignments. Vision documentation, we would be discussing that how and when this vision documentation need to be done. All right. So from all these deliverables, the requirement analysis phase is carried out, which includes all these parts. First is the elicitation, which would be a prerequisite for this. Then you would be validating your requirements. Then you would be doing your UML diagrams. This is specification is nothing but you are specifying and saying that what is there in the requirement, what all the diagrams, with the help of diagrams you can provide the pictorial representation. And then you would be verifying your requirement is nothing but your quality check, whether that is complete or correct or not. Same, the login example which we take, the forgot password was not there, so that was not complete. So all those verification of the requirement is also done in this area. So these are the deliverables which we would be producing at the time of requirement analysis. Functional specification document and SRS. Most of the people get confused that what is the difference in between two. Functional specification document is nothing. It's more for the management, that what all the modules would be there. We were talking about Amazon, right? So we will be having the category section. We will be having a male section. We will be having a female section. We will be having rather we will be having a cloth section, we will be having a book section, then we will be having the electronics section. So that is nothing but module wise, that could be a part of a functional specification. In SRS, software requirement specification, we would be giving more detail for each and every module, that what all the data types should be there, field labor validation, which we just talked right in the WBS. So we thought field labor validation should be there, what table we have to use, right? So all those requirements would be part of this, and this would be more for our developers and the testers. Okay, and then we have a user requirement document, where again this would be given back to our client so that we can achieve a sign off from this. And the use case specification. So either you can use this or this. These both are alternative. There is a small difference which I would be explaining you. And fundamental. Again, for all these three, I would be explaining you how these are different from each other. But for now, just understand that point number 1, third, fourth, fifth, that for our management plus client, and this SRS is more for our people who would be working on this project. Okay. And as a BA, what I would be doing, I think you guys must be aware as a BA what I would be doing in the requirement analysis. See, these are the kind of a techniques. I was talking about techniques, right? That what techniques you would be using. Workshop, interview, observation. When we do a requirement gathering, we do any of these as and when required, right? How we would be gathering the requirements, we would be using several techniques. So these are nothing but the techniques which I would be using as a BA. Right? What all the documentations I would be producing. I was talking about SRS, FRS, right? So again, functional requirement documentation and non-functional requirement documentation. See, I want you guys to emphasize on the non-functional requirement documentation as well, because most of the business analysts fails in writing these requirements. So I want you to emphasize on these kind of requirements as well. I would be explaining you what is traceability. Traceability is, okay, at the time of assignment itself, let me explain you what this traceability is. For now, just understand that we talk about work breakdown structure. We took the example of that as a user, I want to have a login screen. You guys came up with saying that it should have a sign in, sign up. It should have a validation on the username and password, right? So let's take one example. There was a story on the sign in, right? So when I was writing the requirement for the sign in, somewhere I should be able to track that once my sign in story is done, half of my login screen is done. Okay, so that is nothing but tracking. I'm tracking back my sign in functionality to the login screen. So that is called as a traceability. With the help of each and every story, we can trace what is the parent story of it. Okay? And then business requirement documentation, that what business want, why they want feasibility study, and everything would be included or will be the part of BRD. So these are the roles. These two are the major roles. Apart from that, the BA will also use their modeling skill. Definitely they have to use the UML diagrams. I am keep on saying the more visualization things you would be using, the more people will understand. Right? I think Namita asked me that she was not able to visualize what I was saying. I opened Amazon.com in order to explain her. So the same way as a business analyst, you should be able to understand that what you are saying. Right? So your user should be able to visualize it. Now we have requirement validation and prioritization activity. This prioritization is a big C. I would be explaining you in the upcoming chapter that how you can prioritize your requirement. And validation, again, I would be telling you what this for now, just understand it is all about at which, see, I just told that every project has a start date and end date, right? End date is nothing but when your project should get delivered. Based on that end date, you would be saying, okay, on this release or at this time, what requirement should go, what all requirements should go. So we are prioritizing based on several things. If client want me to, this login screen should go at the very first release, right? Until the login screen is there, we cannot go into the system. So that is of number one priority. So we have to prioritize each and every requirements at this time. And you have to engage your stakeholders, right, with your competencies, how you're managing your stakeholders. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay, so this was the analysis phase. All right, so we talk about the analysis phase, this part. Now we would be talking about the design phase, that is this part. So as a BA, what you should do in design? Can anybody explain me? We had discussed this. What I should do?
So in this phase, you are giving them the blueprint of what the product or the project is all about and how will you pursue that,
Perfect.
the steps of,
Awesome. Thank you. It was Disha, right?
Sorry?
It was Disha or Tejasvi?
Yeah, Disha.
Disha. All right. Thanks, Disha. So what
Yeah.
Disha said is the right answer. So at this time, we are giving the blueprint that how the system will look like. All right. So if you remember, I was explaining about the process designing and the beginning of one of my slide that how the process will go for Amazon.com. This one, right? I was designing it. I was designing a flow that I log in and then there are categories, subcategories. So what I was doing, I was designing it. I was giving the blueprint. That is something called as a designing. That's a design phase where we have to play a major role here. They would be providing several design documentation that how the documentation will look like. Now you can see the technical design specification. We will discuss this in more detail. What this technical documentation should look like. What all the things should be there. Right? So if we are working on the process redesigning, we would be providing a complete process flow. If we are designing a business rule is nothing. Let's say the tax department said that okay, $5 should be a tax on every $20 product. So that is a kind of a business rule. So how you will be designing that in the payment screen, this business rule come. You will giving the screen layout. Amazon.com screen when I was explaining. So that was a kind of screen layout design which I was trying to tell you. Okay. So these are the process or these are the design documentation. As a BA, you should be able to reduce it. And what all the roles you would be having is you would be reviewing the solution documentation. Because until unless you have the idea that what the solution you are providing, you cannot design it. They should be in your mind that what I'm gonna provide. And based on that, you would be designing the screen. Okay, and you have to work with the solution designer and architects to ensure that what all the requirements you came up with is perfect. All right. And alright, keep the stakeholder ensure that their requirements are implemented as per the requirements, artifacts, and stuff. Alright. So what happened in some of the projects? Let me give you the example. See what happened is some of the projects, like let's say you are following agile, right? So what happened is at each and every phase in the agile or each and every place or each and every second of agile is all about the customer feedback and interaction, right? So what you are doing is you are interacting, you are engaging your stakeholders. So when you design your screen or when you design your solution, you make sure that your stakeholder are engaged along with you. But because when you're designing, you are just showing, okay, this is what the design is. This is what you want. They said yes, it's okay. You will freeze the requirement. If they say no, you have to redesign. Okay? So that is also the role of a BA in the design phase. And also they manage the changes to the requirement. Okay, so we talk about the change management request, right? So there are the chances that you design and after some point of time you receive the change request on your designs. So you have to incorporate them, and your change request can be both from your business or from your solution designer. Solution designer is nothing but your technical team. And if you are following agile, you will be creating a new requirement. If you are in the waterfall, there is a complete process for it. So when we would be discussing about the SDLC, I will be explaining this in more detail. Alright. So the development phase, there is nothing, I don't say that there is nothing to do, but there are very minimum amount of work that is involved as a BA here, because most of the time when the things would be there on the development phase, the developers will come to you, they will ask you several doubts related to the requirements, and you have to provide the information, the right information to them, that why this is required, why it is not required, what are the things you have to incorporate in the requirements. So at that time, you have to support your development team. So business analyst role lighter during this phase, as I said, in a small team, it can happen that the BA is asked to clarify the requirements or agile projects. The BA will ask to review the prototypes. Right? Testing. This is very important for the BA. What happens is when you write your requirement, you help the testing team to write their testing strategies, or you can say the test plan or test cases. So based on your acceptance criteria that okay, I want to have these and these requirements, you will sit with the testing team and you will ask they would be writing their test cases, you will be helping them writing the test cases, that what all the steps should be there, how the testing should be done. Then you can say okay, your testing has passed. So you can help the testing team in order to confirm your requirements. Alright. So your requirement confirmation can depend on several criteria. If you are waterfall, you would be utilizing your FRS, that is functional requirement documentation, or functional specification documentation for confirming your requirement. If you are in agile, it's nothing but the story which you would be taking up in order to explain whether your requirement has been met or not. So guys, if you're getting confused when I'm using Agile and Waterfall, don't worry. I would be explaining them in more detail with lots of example in the upcoming sessions. So for now, just understand of what all the BA plays a role at testing phase. Alright. So these are the testing deliverables which the testing team gives, not a BA, but they help in providing these input for these. Alright. So during this testing phase, BA can assist in reviewing the test scripts. They ensure all functional requirements are met and tested. Business analyst will involve in defect prioritization. So let's say your testing team was testing this stuff and they come up with two requirements, two bugs. First bug was that even though you are entering the password, the system is not accepting the correct password. The second was maybe the forgot password link is on the very top. Rather, it should be at very down, right? So as a business analyst, I would be prioritizing the first bug first. That would be of more priority. Why? Because my password, even though my password was okay, my system is saying it's not okay. That is, I will be prioritizing it. That's a major thing, right? Your system is not accepting your correct password is a major thing. So I will say I need to address this bug first rather than addressing the forgot password first. Alright. So that is something which BA do. They or prioritize the requirement that what should go first and what should go next. And release and maintenance. See, it again depends on team to team that what they have to provide as a BA, what you would be delivering. There are some teams who says that BA would be providing just the help menus or the training materials to the end user. There are some team who says that as a BA I should be able to handle the release management as well. I would be, there is a release team there in the system. They have to interact with them to say whether and when the release should happen. That completely depends on team to team. I cannot say that this is hard and fast rule that BA should be very much involved in here. But yeah, for the training manuals, they should always be a part of it. And post release, as a BA, I should always be able to available for a support calls to make sure that what all the problems user is facing, I'm providing the solution for them. Right? And what all the deliverables that get produced in the release and maintenances, software application and the test case and reports. So this is not which BA gives, but this is what the release team gives. Okay. Now that was all about what the phases are in SDLC and what PA plays role in each and every part and what all the deliverables we have in each and every part. Alright, so do anybody have any question on this SDLC and what all the deliverables we have and what BA poses a role?
No.
No.
Alright, so let me tell you what's there in trend as a BA. First, this is currently in the market. I did some market study and then based on that I came up with this. In case you have any more ideas, you are more than welcome to discuss on this forum so that we all can have that in our mind. But these is something which is very common trend. First is don't expect all the requirement to be upfront. I gave you the example of as a user I want to have a login screen. That is just one line requirement, right? So it's not giving you the complete requirement that there should be sign in and sign up. So don't ever expect that all the requirements will be well defined for you. You have to come up with the requirement based on that one line requirement. Okay. Now people are focusing more on the business analysis. Analysis in the sense when the requirement came up, you guys came up with the solution, right? Sign in, sign up, username, password, forgot password and all those, right? So what you were doing, you were analyzing it. You were trying to visualize that, okay, what as a BA able to do. So right now, as a BA, we should not just take the requirement and start writing the solution, but we should analyze it first, that what is really required. Focus on adding a business value. Now, as a BA, Focus more on that, what all the value that you can provide to the system. So user just came up that I want to have a login screen. Maybe you can add some more value to it, saying that even though in Amazon, if you don't log in, even though if you log in as a guest, you should be able to do the shopping, right? So it is adding a value. Because maybe some user like me, I don't want to sign in into the system and then do the shopping. I just go and do shopping and then write my address and check out, right? So I'm not restricting my user to provide me direct sign in, rather I'm allowing the user to sign in as a guest. It is adding a value to my business. Okay. Then adopt a professional BA approach. I was talking about the bear walk. I was talking about several knowledge areas, right? If, to be very frank, if we are going step by step, if we are validating everything, if we are verifying our requirements, no one can doubt on your requirements in that case. So be professional when you are writing up your requirements. Make sure you are more and more communicating things with your end user, communicating the things with your team, and the kind of jargons which you are using for the stakeholder should be different from the kind of jargons you are using for your team. All right. So more communication should be there. There should not be any communication gap. That is a common mistake which BA do. There are lots of communication gaps that can happen, and a communication gap can lead to a project failure. Whatever is there, just speak up. Okay. Build better business cases. Better business case can add more value. It can add more and more, good solution for your client. And it's always good that you are a bit technical. It's not required that you should be always technical. In the upcoming chapter, in the upcoming sessions, when I would be discussing about the assignments and all, I would be explaining you that what level of technicality is there that you should possess. I'm not saying that you should be able to code. I'm not saying that you should be able to write a complex, SQL queries. But I would be explaining you that what level of detail is required. If you guys need any help from my side in order to know those technical things, I can explain you. I can arrange a session for you in order to explain those small technical stuff which you can use. Right? Any questions?
No.
Okay, so that's all guys for this demo session. And let me give you some information about how you can get more details about all this stuff. Let me open up a link here. Give me 1 second. Let me walk you through the all the knowledge base which we are having in the Minds Map, and where you can find the videos, where you can. All right, let me tell you that I'll be helping you out in the resume as well. So that would be the part of our upcoming session. I will make sure that once you are done with this this complete sessions, then you should be market ready. At the very next day, you should be able to go and leave the interview. So I would be explaining you how you can crack the interviews as well as a business analyst. Right. So these are some of the links which I would be sharing you here, or let me share you on the chat window. Give me 1 second so that you guys also can access, and then I will be explaining you them. This is the first link. This is the knowledge base link. Okay, this is the same knowledge base link in more detail. This is the assignment where you can find several questions. You can answer them. Several questions are there related to this BA, and there is a resume preparation links. All right, and okay. So let me explain you all of Yes. Okay. So, all right. So you can see a BA training details here, which MindsMapped is providing. Okay, you can find the complete detail out here and how and what all the things we would be delivering in our upcoming sessions. Okay, and what you would be able to learn at the end of this course. The complete details are here, and this is how you can enroll. And also you can see on the right hand side, you can see the course content, where you can either download the course content or whatever. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see the course content out here, the complete detail that what we would be covering on the upcoming chapters. You can see the SDLC and all the SDLC software lifecycle methods. You can see I would be discussing all of them, and these are the kind of techniques. I would be discussing the enterprise analysis. At this time, I would be explaining you the techniques as well. Then I would be telling you what kind of requirements we have to capture. I will be telling you what is stakeholder analysis is very important. It's very important. I will be explaining you why. And once you take the initiate the project, this should be the first thing which you should do. Why and how, this is something I will be explaining you in the upcoming session. So if you can see, before I start requirements elicitation, I would be doing this. That's the reason I was saying that requirement elicitation is more important. Sorry, stakeholder analysis is more important before we start our requirement elicitation. And then what is requirement analysis? What is the development plan? Use case model, all kind of all UML diagrams I would be explaining you here. What is the requirement management? What is the change control? How BA do the change control? How you communicate the requirement? And what all the other process models and everything I would be explaining. And at the end, I would be explaining you how you can prepare your resume, how you should tackle the interview questions. And I mean, at the end of every session, you should be you should be interview ready. All right. You can download the course content from here, and this is nothing but your knowledge base. So if you will go and enter the knowledge base, you can select the business analyst, and once you select the business analyst, it will give you the complete detail about the courses or the topics which we would be covering day wise here. All right. And here it's an assignment model where you can find a list of the questions which you can practice in order to say that, okay, how and where you stand at the end of every session. Or, for instance, a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product or services. That's true, right? We discussed it's a temporary endeavor. It is having the end date and the start date. So you can do the assignments at this point. All right. Resume preparation will also the part of our complete sessions, and also we have several repository for the assignments, and we have the repository for all kind of videos which will help you to get more knowledge on what the business analysis is and what you can achieve. So in order to access all those videos and all those resumes or the assignments, you can get in touch with Monica, and she would be guiding you for it. All right. So any questions, guys, so far?
No.
All right.
No.
So thanks a lot. I really enjoyed and appreciate you guys involved a lot, and definitely I want you guys to get involved more and more to make these sessions more interactive, and make sure that each and every one of you who is there in this session at the end of our complete training, you should be able to answer and crack all the interviews, and you should be able to perform well as a business analyst there. Okay. So before I
Thank
end,
you so much.
always welcome. So before I end, I want every one of you who are interested to take the further sessions to provide your email ID and the phone number on the chat window. And those who don't want to share their email ID and phone with everyone, they can just select the organizer or my name there on the chat window. There's two, right? If you will see on the chat window, there is two. So there is everyone by default. You can select my name out there or the organizer, and you can type in your email ID and the phone number so that I can ask Monica to touch base with you in order to enroll you for the further meeting. Hope you guys enjoyed the session.
Yes.
All right.
Okay,
I
thank
did
you.
Always welcome. Looking forward to have more and more discussions on all the artifacts and make sure that you guys are market ready. All right.
I
Thank you,
actually sent
Swati.
in an mail. So I'm just sending my. I sent in my Gmail ID, but actually I'll be using my Yahoo email. Swati.
All right, Disha.
This is
Okay.
and my number's right there.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much, Swati.
Welcome, Disha. Have
And
a great
we'll
day.
see you in the next. Yeah, we'll see you in the next section.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Swati.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Amisha, you can.
Swati, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What is the best way to contact you? Through email or like usually how do we get in touch with you if we have any questions or anything?
For me, I would be providing the. Once you enroll for this course, Monica will provide you the email address of mine on which you can send
Okay.
me the details or your questions, and then I will answer you instantly.
Okay, and when is the next class tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, Tejasvi, you can reach out to me once you. First you have to get in touch with Monica to enroll on the session. So once you enroll, she would be providing the email address where you can reach out to me for all your questions.
So I have one question, Swati. I have already enrolled for the course,
All
for
right.
the weekend course.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean that I have to get in touch with Monica again and get
Uh,
enrolled for the next session?
no, you don't have to enroll. I'm not aware whether you have been enrolled or not. So, did she provided you the email address?
Not yet, because well, I mean, I went ahead and paid for the entire course for the weekend, weekend course, and she said I have to just start it from the weekend. So
Okay.
I thought
Okay, no problem. So what I would be doing is I would be get in touch with Monica. I would be telling her to provide my email address on which we can have a chat. All right, and you can share your questions and everything there.
yeah, actually, Surendra had got in touch with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I just have his email. I don't have yours. But yeah, so hopefully I'll see you. You will be the same one for my next session too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely I would be there. So, guys,
Okay.
this next
Oh,
session is at the same time tomorrow. All right?
Okay.
tomorrow. So it's Saturdays and Sundays, right?
Right.
Every
Saturday.
Saturday.
Perfect. Yes.
So Swati, are
Okay.
you the replacement for Mansi?
I think she is conducting the other session. We have two sessions going on simultaneously. So
Okay.
uh, I think Monica can provide you more information on this.
Okay, no problem. That's fine.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you so much. See you tomorrow, Swati.
All right.
Bye. Have a good day.
Same there. Bye. you.